Good morning. Today we will start exactly from where we left the last class. We were doing sex determination, and if you remember the last day, I had said that there are different systems of determining the sex. And further, we were talking about the sex determination in Drosophila, which is in your syllabus, as well as mammal. We'll come to that later on. And I had said that it is the ratio of the number of X chromosome present in a set of sex chromosome and the number of autosomes present in a set of autosome, which actually determines that whether the fly will be a male fly or a female fly. This is now moving on to the next slide. As you can see, this is another picture which actually is telling us about the different modes of sex determination. Now there are two names given. One is the Proteiner mode. This picture is from Klug and Cummings. Okay. One is the Proteiner mode and the other is the Ligase mode. And in the Proteiner mode, as you can see, during gamete formation, so there are 12 autosomes and 2 X chromosome, 12 autosomes and 1 X chromosome. So this is the XO method of sex determination. During gamete formation, we are having 6 autosomes and since there is only one X, so no X chromosome in this one, and the other gamete we are having 6 autosomes as well as 1 X chromosome. And in case of the female, as you can see, it's the 6 autosome and 1 X chromosome. If you just divide it into half, okay. And then we have the crosses. See, the male has 12 autosomes and 1 X chromosome, and the female has 12 autosomes and 1 X chromosome. And the other method stated here is Ligase method, in which the determination is mainly done by the Y chromosome. So you can see the female is having the 6 autosome and 1 X chromosome, and in case of male, as you can see, we are having a 6 autosome and Y chromosome and a 6 autosome and an X chromosome. So when gamete formation is occurring, multiply this 2, we are having 12 autosomes, 1 X, 1 Y. So that is the male, and again here we are having 12 autosomes and 2 X. This is a very schematic picture of the diploid male of Drosophila, and there are last day I had also said that there are four sets of chromosomes, where we have the sex chromosome and 3 sets of autosome, and the ratio of X is to A. If it's 1, it's female. The ratio of X is to A. If it is 0.5, it is male. Anything between 1 to 0.5, any ratio between 1 to 0.5 is intersex. Any ratio above 0.5 is meta-female. Any ratio below 0.5 is meta-male. So this is basically the sex determination. Now the question is that if the number of X chromosomes and the sets of autosomes actually, does the ratio actually determine sex in Drosophila, then automatically the question comes that for wild type Drosophila, what happens? How is the information of the ratio transmitted to the sex determining genes, which makes the choice between the alternate female and the male development pathways, starting with the master regulatory gene SXL. So we will now move on to that, how is this ratio detected? So coming to that, now let's look at this picture. Let's look at this picture. So this is actually a very simplified picture of what happens. Now on the X chromosome, now let me just first let me walk you through the picture. You can see red balls and blue balls, okay? So the X chromosome is producing proteins which are symbolized here in this picture as red balls, and the autosome is producing proteins which are symbolized here as the blue balls. Now these are the gene products. From the X chromosome, or rather I would state it this way, on the X chromosome are the sisterless numerator genes cis A, cis B, and cis C. So these are the products of the sisterless numerator genes. And on the autosome is the deadpan denominator genes. Now, when there is, in females, when there is 2x, there is an excess of numerator subunits versus denominator subunits. So the red balls are in excess as compared to the denominator subunits. Okay. So as a result of which, at times it happens, since we are having 2x chromosome and there is excess of the numerator subunits, the numerator subunits can join. So the numerator are forming homodimers. The red-blue ball is a heterodimer, but the red ball is a homodimer. So the red balls, as I said, are the products of the numerator genes. The blue balls are the products of the denominator genes. So when these genes are expressed, since there are 2x's, more expression of the numerator genes are occurring. As a result, in the female fly, we are getting the formation of the homodimers, the numerator homodimers. This numerator homodimers is nothing but a transcription factor that activates, as I said, the main master regulatory gene SXL, that's sex lethal. And once this numerator homodimers activate this SXL gene, there is a downstream cascade, and the development is that of a female fly. So in presence of the numerator homodimers, we get this is the transcription factor, we get the expression of the SXL early protein, and it is a female development, and it is a female fly. So the cascade enters the female development pathway. But in case of male, you can see there is 1x and 2 autosomes. So 1x is not able to produce as much product as 2x had produced. So we are not getting so much amount of x as compared to the autosome, since there are 2 sets of autosomes. And in this case, after the dimerization, we do not get any numerator homodimers. So if there are no numerator homodimers, so there is no transcription factor, as a result of which no production of the early SXL protein. So in absence of the early SXL protein, the default cascade that follows leads to the male developmental pathway. So this is how actually the ratio is read. The ratio is read in terms of the protein expression. This was one picture. This is from Benjamin Pierce, and there's another picture I want to show, that of Russell. That is also a very simplified picture. So this is another picture where in case of female there is 2 X chromosome and 2 autosome. So we are getting excess of the numerator genes cis A, cis B, and cis C, and on the autosome are the dead pan or product or the denominator subunits. Since we have an excess of the numerator subunit, we are having this red colored homodimers, which I just now said act as transcription factors for the SXL early genes. But when we are seeing the picture of the female fly, as you can see, there is 1x. So the sisterless products are not in plenty, and we have 2 autosomes. So there are, in fact, even the dimer has shown, but there is rarely a dimer I mean to say a sisterless homodimer formed in the system, as a result of which, in the absence of the formation of the numerator, in the absence of the formation of the sisterless homodimer, in fact, the transcription cannot start. And in case of females, since this in case of males, since this transcription cannot start, so what happens? Finally, the default cascade system operates in case of males, while in case of females, the cascade is controlled by the production of the numerator homodimers. Now what happens? Now, so this was the writing up. That's what I discussed right now, just now. I'm not getting into that. Okay. So now let's consider this situation. So there is a scenario of early embryogenesis and a scenario of late embryogenesis. Just now we have studied that if the sisterless forms homodimers, in case of females, they act as transcription factors. So early in embryogenesis, and another thing, so as you can see, there are two segments. So there is an early promoter here. Let's look at this picture. And there is a late promoter here. So there are two promoter elements. One just in front of the E1 and the other just in front of the L1. So this is the early promoter and this is the late promoter. Now let's concentrate on the early promoter. Early in embryogenesis, in the female specifically, the numerator dimer transcription factor actually activates the SXL gene from the early promoter, which is one of the two promoters of this gene, the other, as I said, being upstream, the late promoter. Now, the pre-RNA that is transcribed from this early promoter has 8 exons, as you can see. Exon 2 and 3 are skipped. So it has 8 exons. Exons 2 and 3 are skipped to produce the mature mRNA consisting of exon E1, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Translation of this product gives us the SXL early protein. Now mind it, this happens only in female in presence of the numerator dimer transcription factor. Okay, so this was the female cascade. So in case of female, since there is a sisterless transcription factor, it can bind with the early promoter and produce the SXL early protein. But let us imagine the case of males where, as we saw, there was no numerator dimer transcription factor, and as a result there was no presence of SXL early protein. What happens? So later in embryogenesis, in absence of this phenomena, this occurs. So this is a default system that is operative. So later in embryogenesis, that is after gastrulation, the SXL gene is transcribed constitutively. That is, it is the default. So it is automatically transcribed in all in all cells, regardless of the X is to A ratio. So whatever the X is to A ratio be, regardless of this previous ratio, this particular gene is transcribed. So you have to imagine that after gastrulation, this gene is activated and this gene produces a product. Now, depending on whether an early product has been produced or not, we can get two different variants. So how is this happening? Now, as I said, later in embryogenesis, after gastrulation, SXL is transcribed constitutively from the late promoter. So on transcribing this, we get this pre-mRNA, which is common for both male and female. If you look in the third exon, there is an in-frame stop codon. So there is a stop codon within the third exon. In case of females, we already have the SXL early protein, but in case of males, there is no SXL early protein. It's absent. So in case of females, when this is transcribed and then translated, what happens? Since there is this SXL early protein, it causes a regulated splicing of these exons. Exon E1 and E3 are skipped. In case of females, mind it, in presence of the SXL early protein, exons E1 and E1 and exon 3 are skipped, resulting in a mature mRNA with exons L1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And finally, this mature mRNA is translated to produce the SXL late protein. But in case of males, where there is no SXL early protein, what happens? There is no regulation maintained. So the whole pre-RNA the splicing mechanism is not much regulated, and this whole pre-mRNA is spliced to give us the mature mRNA containing all the exons. So it includes all the exons, in fact L1 and exon 3 also. And as you can see, the exon 3 contains the inframe stop codon. So if the ribosome sits on the on its pre-described start site and then starts transcribing this mRNA, since there is a stop codon, so there will be untimely opening of the ribosome. It will not reach to the end. So in this presence of stop codon, there is no functional product. So you have to consider two things from this particular slide that is open in front of you, is that in presence of the SXL early protein, regulated splicing is occurring. As a result of the regulated splicing, the two codons are removed and we are getting the SXL late protein. In absence of the SXL early protein, there is no regulated splicing occurring, and we are getting a default mature mRNA, which is ultimately giving no functional product. So the take-home message from this slide is that in female, we have an early SXL protein and a late SXL protein. So it starts from sisterless homodimers, early SXL protein, late SXL protein. In case of males, no sisterless homodimers, no early SXL protein, no late SXL protein. So this is the scenario that we have studied till now. Now, so as I said, it's also have summarized the early pictures here. So in case of females, early embryogenesis, we have the early SXL protein. In case of males, no functional product. In case of females, the late SXL protein. Now comes the next gene in the cascade, the TRA gene. Now coming to the TRA gene, the transformer gene, we have 3 exons here. Transcription of this gene results in the production of this TRA pre-mRNA, and it has a stop codon contiguous with the second exon. It's just preceding the second exon. So there we are having this TRA pre-mRNA, and in presence of the SXL late protein, this splicing mechanism is regulated in females, as a result of which this stop codon is efficiently removed and we are getting the TRA protein. But as you can see, in case of males, the splicing occurs as a default and this stretch remains and no functional product. So if we update the cascade, in females, SXL early protein, in presence of which SXL late protein, in presence of which the TRA protein. In males, no, nothing here, no functional product, no functional product. So that is the next gene in cascade. For males, no functional product. For females, the functional TRA product. Finally, coming to the final gene in the cascade, the double sex gene. Now, if we look into the double sex gene, The double sex gene uh, splicing is also regulated. In case of females, it is SXL early protein, SXL late protein, TRA protein. In presence of the TRA, the regulation of the splicing of the double sex pre-mRNA is occurring. Under this regulated splicing, as you can see, there are two stop codons. So there is a stop codon at exon 4. So there's a poly-A site at the end of exon 4 and there's a poly-A site at the end of exon 6. In case of females, the presence of the TRA protein regulates this phenomena and the termination of the mature mRNA occurs after exon 4 and the poly-A is added after exon 4, as a result of which this mature mRNA gives us a female specific double sex protein, the main function of which is to suppress all those genes which are functioning, which will be involved, which are actually males, which are involved in male specific gene expression. So the double sex F protein actually represses male specific gene expression in all cells. But in case of males, there was no early SXL, there was no late SXL, there was no TRA. So again, it is the default fate. In the default fate, what happens? There is, as I said, there are two poly-A sites, but the default site is this one. In presence of the TRA, this one is actually identified. So in the case of the default fate, we are getting the full mRNA with a poly-A site, and the poly-A site after the 6th exon is recognized, and we are getting the double sex male protein. This is a male specific double sex protein and it is a transcription factor that represents female specific gene expression in all cells. So this is how the sex determination occurs in case of Drosophila. And this is the summary of the cascades which we just now studied. As you can see, X is to A ratio female, X is to A ratio male. In case of X is to A ratio female, we are getting the transcribe regulated splicing of the pre-RNA. So we are getting the SXL protein early and late. The SXL protein now directs regulated splicing of the TRA protein. We are getting the TRA protein. The TRA protein directs regulated splicing of the double sex pre-RNA. We are getting the double sex female protein. The double sex female protein represses male specific gene expression and it represses, mind it, keep this in mind, the double sex female protein represses male specific gene expression, as a result of which it's female somatic cell differentiation. So the whole cascade starts when only we have the sisterless homodimer formation. That is where the cascade starts. In case of male, there is no sisterless homodimer formation. Default transcription, no SXL protein. In absence of no SXL, no TRA protein. So in absence of no TRA protein, default splicing of the double sex protein and double sex pre-mRNA, default splicing of the double sex pre-mRNA, and we are getting the double sex protein. The double sex female, male protein represents female specific gene expression and we are getting male somatic cell differentiation. So this is basically the cascade of sex determination in Drosophila. I have another picture just want to share with you so you can see. So that's when you can go for this kind of tabular pattern of writing your answers if this question comes. So X is to A ratio, that's one, activated SXL gene in presence of the SXL protein, regulated TRA pre-mRNA, and the TRA pre-mRNA gives us the DSX, regulated DSX, double sex pre-mRNA, and we are getting the double sex female protein. X is to A 0.5, so no SXL protein. In absence of this, no functional TRA protein, and in absence of no functional TRA protein, we are getting the default double 6 pre-mRNA and the default double 6 male protein, and we are getting a male fly. So that is what we do here today. Let me stop the recording first.